Hi, welcome to the Walking Well podcast. I'm your host, Joanne Martz. Thank you for watching or listening, however you're getting this. It is season 7, and if you knew that season 7 was coming, that means you've been waiting patiently for a long time, and I really, really appreciate you so very much. But we here now, right? We out here. We're doing it, doing the things, and it's happening. So this episode is titled Hope, and I know there's already kind of like a micro episode called Hope that's floating out there. But it's such an important thing. I wanted to kind of drop it in as like a prequel to all the other episodes of season 7. And so I just wanted to kind of like lay the groundwork, lay almost the lens through which you walk through these sort of difficult seasons. And hope is definitely that lens. Like when things are not going well, going to plan, going how you thought they would go, how you hoped they would go. Hope is really that thing that has to remain. It has to be the center. It's got to be your anchor, right? We have this hope that holds us like an anchor. And so as you listen, as we talk through things, I really would love if we could continue to have conversations about walking in wilderness seasons, being in wilderness, dry spaces, through the lens of hope, right? Like hope is the ability to foresee change in the future. Hebrews 11 says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? The evidence of things not seen. Christ is our living hope, and you really need hope only and kind of explicitly when things aren't going well. Hope really is the superhero that shows up when like things are going to crap. You don't really need hope when things are going well. You don't really need hope when your plans are working out, when you're getting into the school, when the job is going well, or the relationship is. You don't really need hope in those situations, right? You need hope when it's dark and dire. And so hope, like I said, is really that posture of things will get better, things will change. I can foresee things getting better on the horizon, even if they suck right now. And so I just really would love to kind of set that as, hey, in everything that we talk about, hope is the central point. Hope is the pivot foot, right? Hope is the foot we plant to make any kind of move into the next direction, into the next step, right? And so hope is tricky because it's vulnerable. It can be really vulnerable to hope. It is very much so stretching your neck out. It's opening yourself up, to like potentially be hurt again or disappointed again, for things to still not work out the way that you wanted them to. But it is a central survival skill. Like if you are not going to hope, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And so like life be lifing. I think over the past few years, everybody can recognize and attest to how life has been wild and wilding. And things have not gone to plan. Things have not felt great. Things have been utter chaos, right? Like it sucks it is absolutely sucked in some places. And to hope is to go, well, maybe it could still be good. And that's a very vulnerable thought. That's a very vulnerable posture, because we've been disappointed and discouraged and like, is this the great tribulation? Is Jesus coming back sometime sooner than I thought and anticipated? Hoping is vulnerable and it's hard. Like it's so hard to hope when you've been disappointed. And oftentimes when you get discouraged, it's because you've had like loss after loss after loss, thing not work out after thing not work out after thing not work out. And it can seem smarter and wiser to harden yourself and just expect that things are going to continue to go the way that they've been going. But that's not hopeful. And in fact, it's kind of like cutting yourself off from air. God calls us to hope. I mean, at the time that I'm recording this, we're about to hit Easter. And when I think about how Jesus' situation looked, crucifixion, abandonment, buried in first of all, killed between two criminals, and then buried in a tomb. That's a very hopeless looking situation. Right. And to be honest, until you're facing something that looks a little bit hopeless, you may not actually really have put your fingers on the fabric of faith. You may not have, like, it's not that you don't have faith when things are going well, but there's something about, there's a scripture in Proverbs that talks about if you fail in the day of trial, how small is your strength? And it's essentially saying, like, if when it comes time to be strong, like when something is opposing you, you don't have the strength there, did you ever really kind of have strength in the first place? And hope is a lot that way. It's like faith is a lot that way. When things are going well, when things are going according to plan, when stuff is happening that's exciting that you're looking forward to, of course, sure, you have faith. But when things are tough, when things are dry, when things feel barren, when things feel hard, when things are icky and uncomfortable and like big yuck, where's your faith? Do you still have that expectation of good? Are you still hoping? Are you still believing God's promises? Are you still believing the things that God told you in the previous season when things were going well and it looked like that was what was going to be? You know what I'm saying? And so in that way, hope is a discipline. And I think when you come out of seasons where things are like green and lush and easy and fruitful, you think the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control are kind of like just a natural byproduct of being in a relationship with God. But when you hit dry spots and dry spells and difficult places, you realize how much those fruit are actually disciplines, are things that you decide to do and be, decide to connect to the Father and just be like, all right, I'm gonna be joyful. Someone said to me I was having a conversation with a young lady and we were talking about podcasting stuff. And as we wrapped up, she was like, okay, well, you have a good day, and be happy because you choose to. And I said, that's a word. First of all, be happy because you choose to, ma'am. Don't give me instructions and like autonomy in my life and how I feel, LOL. But like choose to, right? Like choose to hope. It's a discipline. It's a muscle. Hoping is a muscle. Sticking your neck out there to believe God is a muscle. Because on the other side of that is just like pure unbelief, right? Like it ain't gonna get better. His mercies are not new in the morning. Like you just, it's just not the way to live. It's not the way to live, and it's not the way to make it through where you are. Hope is the muscle. Hope is the discipline that pulls you from this place of despairing and discouragement to a place of, I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, like period. You know what I'm saying? And so as we talk through the next couple of little tools I want to give you for these dry, drought, wilderness spaces in the next couple of episodes, I would just encourage you to take a posture and a position of hope. Like it does suck today. And there's nothing wrong with saying that and acknowledging that. But I believe that the Lord is going to bring something else, bring something new, bring joy in the morning, right? And so hope. And I encourage you this week, hope again, because it's very easy to stop hoping and just exist. But start to stretch your muscles, start to believe God, start to go back over words that God has given you, things that used to make your heart like pump, like just review, like God is faithful, right? And even that is a statement of hope. God is faithful, right? Like things are trash. Things feel like trash. This relationship ain't going how I want it, whatever. But God is faithful. You know what I'm saying? Like you take care of me. You promise to be a shepherd. And Psalm 23 is a really great place to plant because it's very honest about where you'll be. You'll be in places that are lush and green and beautiful beside still waters. And then there'll be times where you walk through the valley of the shadow of depth. It be deep in there. That's why. But there are times where you walk through the valley of the shadow of death and it feels just so. Like, what would be better than this? Well, let me tell you. But I just encourage you to hope this week, take the posture of hope as we walk through this season. Like, commit to hoping, and it's a big little step. Commit to hoping. Like, today's going to be better than it was yesterday. These kids ain't going to drive me up a wall today because I choose to not allow that to happen. Amen. So that's my encouragement. We're going to get into some of the other things, but the first step is hope. Like, it's going to get better. Things will get better. The sun will come up. Keep getting up and going to bed, and you will see the sun arise in your life. It may take a minute. Not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but just begin to hope again. And we'll talk again next week. Bye.